you know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for June 10th. How's everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Matt, all the way out from NYC, is this week's special guest. Matt and I are going to be giving you a betting preview of the U.S. Open. And we may build you a DFS lineup depending how we're doing on time. But before I get all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsors of the show, JustOutTennis.store. Go to JustOutTennis.store, use promo code ETOFT21 for 10% off, and PropHex. If you're not using PropHex, you're missing out. Go to the App Store, download it. Peer-to-peer betting is the future of sports betting. Use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Now let's welcome this week's special guest, Matt, to the show. Matt, how are you doing today, my man?
Good. How's it going?
You know what? It's going good, dude. You know, summer's here.
Yeah.
You know, it's going good, man. It's been a while, dude. What's new, man? What is new with you, dude?
Nothing much. I actually live up in Saratoga, though. Not in New York City.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, man. New York City. I spent 2 summers in New York City. I've had many of fun times in New York City. So that is my bad, my friend.
Good.
Yeah, dude. Stuff's good with me, man. You know, just living the life. You know, I don't know if I told you this, dude, but I started doing Whole30, like me and the ex-girlfriend, keyword X. We decided on Saturday to do we're going to start Monday to do it, and we broke up on Monday. I
remember that.
We broke up on Sunday, and I started Monday. So definitely, it's not that bad, man. It's honestly not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But real quick before we get started, you're a Knicks fan. A, is this their ceiling? B, who do you think should be their next coach?
I mean, I don't know what their ceiling is. I guess it depends on how good Boston is, like Tatum and all that, you know, with the injury and that type of stuff. They're obviously the best team when they're healthy. In terms of next coach, I think they just have a lot of other issues. Like we were saying, maybe Jason Kidd or whatever that situation might bring. But I think they have a lot of other issues. All these big contracts like the Mikal Bridges, they traded all these picks for, and Towns, who doesn't play defense, and they're paying him $60 million a year for a couple years. So I guess I wouldn't mind Jason Kidd if I had to pick, but I don't think he's like bring him and now you're an NBA title contender instantly.
I hate the Lakers, 99. Jenkins from the Wolves, that's who you want. That's a good coach. He's a good coach, man. He's been really solid. Justin Paul Sports can't mess with that intro. Before we jump into the bets, do you have a takeaway from the sports weekend, the sports betting weekend, anything going on?
So I didn't really see too much because I was at Belmont most of the weekend. But I watched a couple of the Panthers games. As you see, I have the sweatshirt on from when I was down there for some of the games. So they were fun. I'm obviously a Rangers fan first and foremost, but, you know, it seems like they kind of turned the switch on and found the way to get to this team a little. So hopefully they end up winning it.
How would you feel about Giannis coming to the Knicks?
I would love if we could get him and get rid of Towns. I don't think they'd have the money to have both.
Yeah.
So I'd prefer him, and then you add like a defensive type of center, rebound, you know, one of those type of guys rather than this guy.
Because like for me, I live in the northern burbs of Chicago. It's easier for me to go up to Milwaukee games. I de facto am a Bucks fan ever since I moved out here. It's just easier for me to go up. If they trade Giannis for Towns, I would be so pissed.
Yeah.
That would be one of the worst trades I could ever think of. My big takeaway is this. So earlier today, FanDuel announced they're going to start charging 50-cent fee just to place a bet in Illinois. And honestly, I believe this is just the beginning. I think other states are going to follow. This is going to become the new norm. I said it before, whether it's on this show or when I do the prop hex read at the beginning, the future of sports betting is this peer-to-peer stuff. And tonight's announcement is proof that we're moving in that direction sooner rather than later. Now, I get some people hear 50 cents and think it's no big deal, but in reality, that small fee raises your break-even point and makes it harder to win long-term. This game is already tough, and moves like this only make it tougher. In fact, it may even push people back to offshore books. And I'll be honest, that's still where I do a good chunk of my bets. Offshores aren't going anywhere. Just got to have a good, reliable one. Bet online, bookmaker, heritage, books that have been around and take care of their players. Now, look, I'm not blaming FanDuel or the books themselves. They're in a business. They're trying to make money. Illinois changed the game by passing legislation that have impacted the previous agreement, so books are reacting. Circa, a book I really respect, even said they're watching closely and they could potentially leave the Illinois market altogether. From my perspective, the legalization of sportsbook has actually taken a step backwards for sports betting. Too many people are on social media sharing bets, talking like experts when they don't have a clue. I see these posts, I tune into a podcast or a live stream, and I literally leave it, and I'm like, what the hell was that person saying? What was I just listening to? We even have mainstream media like ESPN pumping out betting segments now, and that's fine if you got someone who actually knows what they're doing. But the truth is, only a small handful of people are creating content that truly helps bettors learn the game and get better. And that's exactly why I started the show, to give real insight, teach you how to bet smarter, provide actual value. And I'm here, and I've had people reach out to me and say the show helps them, and that means the world to me. Obviously, that's why Matt's here today, to break down the U.S. Open, teach you guys how to approach betting golf, and of course, give you some picks to help you make money. But when that stuff happens today, it just absolutely irritates me, because I know a lot of people are going to blame the sports books, but it's the state of Illinois. And like, from what I've read, you're in New York. New York's probably going to do the same thing because their taxes are higher than here with the sports books. So it's just too bad. And like I said, I think the legalization of sports betting has made sports betting worse. I mean, you got people heckling people. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody has physical violence against the players because they lose a player prop.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Scotty Scheffler
taken a huge step backwards because of this legalizing of sports betting.
Yeah, like Scotty Scheffler tweeted in his interview today or yesterday. He said, like, yeah, I had to get rid of my Venmo because when I win, people try and pay me or something, or like send me money. I was having to send it back, and when I lose, people are sending me like requests for money. Obviously, the guy doesn't need the money.
Yeah,
and it's just like, he legally can't take it, because then it's like, oh, was Scotty like in on this, that type of thing? Now he's dealing with sending it all back, and that's the least issues he needs.
And you have Gabby Thomas, like the sprinter. This guy was like heckling her, and at like the he was literally following her around and stalking her at a Philly competition.
Jeez.
And he's betting $10 a game. You know what I mean? He was betting $10 on track and field, women's track and field. You know what I mean? And he's like following her around and stalking her to win his little $10 bet. Like, it's sad, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it really is sad when you just kind of look at it like that perspective, like what is going on. And I remember when I first started doing this many moons ago, and it has changed. Like, of course it's going to change. Everything involves, like sports, the stock market, trading stock markets, betting sports, all that involves. But this has been a huge step backwards, and it's just gotten worse. And you see these people on social media, like, talking about betting, and it's like, my favorite is when people say this team will win because they're better. That's my favorite. That like, okay, why though? Like, give me a reason why they would win.
Yeah, why are they better?
You know what I mean? Why they would win. So, but is what it is, man. That's my rant. Let's jump right in to the bets. You, my friend, have some big shoes to fill, because last time you were on, you gave out Rory I think at +6 or +700. I didn't follow you at the pre-flop, but you sent me a text message. He is going to win this shit, I believe was your quote text message. So I got him live at 10-1. So I thank you for that.
He actually got a better price than most people.
Well, that's the gamble, though.
That's the funny part. Yeah.
That's the gamble. And like if I would have placed that bet on September, I would have 50 cents less if I did on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 gentlemen you are betting on, my friend.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I don't want to jump. I know I couldn't get on for the PGA, but I was actually pretty heavy on Scotty.
Okay.
He was like 5-1.
Okay.
But I wasn't on, so I won't take credit for that. But yeah, so these 4 guys all have a relatively similar game. There's a couple key things I looked at. I either want a guy who can hit the ball a mile, like Bryson, or people that are dead accurate off the tee, somebody like a Cantley, a Xander, a Connors. Putting here is going to be ridiculous. I'm sure you've seen some of the videos with how fast the greens are, so I don't take as much stock in that because it's not going to be easy for anybody. And then same thing with Xander's, kind of like a mix of all of it. Like Bryson has the bombing part. He's accurate. Xander has kind of like a middle of everything. And then the other 2, they're accurate off the tee. They at least get the ball to the green. Their putter can get hot. So they're not like the complete, we're not betting on Scotty here at 2-1 or 2.5-1. He's an obvious, we're going to have to beat him.
So here's my question for you. You're taking the approach, I'm just going to leave Scotty off the card, which I completely agree. I think I saw +235 when I was looking at it earlier today. Hypothetically, what is the lowest price you would bet him? So like if you're watching this event and it gets to the live market, what is the price that you would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get involved. I'm going to be in the Scotty business.
So I guess there's like 2 ways you could look at it too. There's also like they have like those non-markets, non-Scotty, which is kind of interesting because in that Bryson's still 7-1. So like, is Bryson, is Bryson worth 1 point to Scotty, or sorry, Scotty worth 1 point to Bryson? Maybe, maybe not. So I guess that's a decision other people could make. I know like a couple weeks ago, I had this Ben Griffin guy and he was 60-1. But that week he was like 40-1 without Scotty. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't care how good he is. I'm not losing 20 points on a guy that I'm playing. And, it wasn't like a substantial wager. So I guess that's one way to look at it. If you do think he's going to win, but still like these prices, you can bet against him that way. It just depends. You don't want to lose too much value on it. Like Xander, I think was like, instead of 22-1, he might have been like 16-1 or something. But in terms of just betting Scotty in the live market, I'd say if you got to like 5-1, I'd be interested. But it's also 5-1, and who else is where? Is Rory at 3-1 and he's behind him? Is Xander 4 or 5 up on Scotty, and we're chasing all those guys? Because this definitely isn't a course you want to be chasing anybody on.
So
shots 1 shot away from disaster.
This course is hard as F. Correct.
So they interviewed DJ about it and his thing, because he won the U.S. Open here, I think in like 2016, 2017, something like that. And he said it's by far the hardest course he's ever played, and there's not even a comparison he would make to another course.
So now this is my crazy thought. Okay. Now hear me out before you call me an idiot. Okay. He's gone 672 days without missing the cut. Scotty not to make the cut. Am I an idiot?
Yes.
Okay. I don't like. That's why you're here. I bet golf anytime you're on. I bet golf. Other than that, I never bet golf.
And I don't want to like say yes, you're an idiot. Like I'm not trying to be like that, but he doesn't make the big mistakes that other people make, and that's a difference. That's why he won the PGA.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's in contention every week. His bad weeks is like, why, you only got top 5 or top 10? Like, what's up with that? Like, people are more surprised when he's not winning or top 2 or 3 than they are when he's top 10. Like, I don't know what Rory and Bryson and Rahm and all them that last day of the PGA, but like, just typically, you can't convince those guys you're not going to be able to hit this shot. Take your medicine, move on, get them on the next hole. Scotty is like, let me just not mess up this hole, put the ball in play, get back in contention. These guys I'm going to win on every hole is kind of their mentality, it seems.
Because I'm looking at it right now. Scotty failed to make the cut on the PGA Tour was 2022.
It was the Memorial right after he won the Masters, right?
FedEx St. Jude Championship in August.
Okay.
Missed it that weekend after a double bogey on the 5th during the tournament. That stretch marks 672 days without missing a cut.
And I think he won the FedEx Cup that year. It was second to Rory, maybe.
He's plus 725 not to make the cut. Now, look, I'm not going to pay that. I think it needs to be a little greater for me to get invested. But
that's kind of crazy. He's a shorter price to win the tournament than to miss the cut.
I know, which is insane. My bets got this one over at Circa. I went Ron.
I was
Johnny
between
Boy,
him and
plus
Bryson
12
for that spot.
Coming off a good showing at the PGA Championship where he finished 8th. Now, he never fully threatened to win it. Scotty was just on another planet, but Ron had a solid week, proved once again that he is still a major threat even after the LIV switch. This course is really suited to his style, ranked 3rd in total strokes gained, more importantly, 2nd off the tee, 3rd tee to green, and that's exactly with the kind of profile that wins a U.S. Open. When we look at the numbers, 1.006 strokes off the key, gaining 0.065 strokes in approach, hitting 64% of the greens in regulations. I think his short game is a little underrated. Now, when we're looking at over the last 50 rounds of every player in the tournament, he's 3rd in driving distance, 2nd in strokes gained around the green, 3rd in bogey avoidance, and 1st in strokes gained total on hard courses. That's not good. That's elite. And we look at Johnny Boy. He has not won in 2025, but he's been very consistent. He's finished inside the top 10 in every single LIV event this season. That's the stability you can build on to bet on. Let's not forget he's won a U.S. Open. He knows how to grind out these tough setups. Back in 2016, he was the low amateur at Oakmont, finishing 23rd on a rough Thursday, rallying strong with rounds of 69, 72, and 70. Kind of bounce back tells you a lot about his mental game. You have to shop around. Like I said, I got this at Circa. Give me Johnny Boy at plus 12C5, my friend.
I don't mind that at all. That was between him and Bryson for that top in that range.
I mean, full transparency, I was going to do a thing on Bryson, but when I saw you had him, I decided to do Johnny Boy.
So, and it's funny, I like Bryson, I would have flipped it the other way.
So, all right. Next, we have some top 20s. I got a top 22, my man.
Yep. So I had Connors and Cantley. As you saw, they were the two of the outrights bets. I just, I know we touched on them a little there. They were just the only value of those guys that I thought fit the profile to win. I wasn't going to give out Xander at I think he was minus 110 or even money because we were talking about, this course is very brutal and you never know when a guy's going to put up one big number that drops you out of it. But I thought at those numbers, you play both of them. One of them gets in the top 20, you're netting out a little bit of money.
Yeah. I like that. My next one is I went Neiman. I got him at top 20. I played the plus 120. Coming off the win on the LIV Tour in Virginia, shot a bogey-free 8 under 66 to win by a stroke. 4 wins on LIV this year. Clearly one of the hottest golfers on the planet right now. He was 8th at the PGA Championship, first ever top 10 finish. I really think the narrative about him not showing up in the majors, I think he squashed it, and I think he's trending to have a huge tournament here, which really sells me on his play is his profile. Sorry, what really sells me on this play is his profile on a course like Oakmont. First of all, he leads the field in bogey avoidance over the last 50 rounds at this U.S. Open, where par is a premium. That is huge. He's also top 10 in ball striking, more specifically top 5 in strokes gained on approaches from 200 plus yards, which will be critical for the length and layout where we're expecting this week. Now, he's no stranger to the greens. I'm not even going to pronounce this name because I know I'm going to butcher it, but he's no stranger to the greens that are going to be played here. Both his wins last week in Virginia and in Mexico City were played on the same greens that are going to be played here at the U.S. Open. Big confidence booster for him going into Oakmont, where the greens are going to be fast and tricky. While he's not the strongest birdie maker compared to others on the field, that actually may be a good thing. I don't think this is going to – I think everyone knows this isn't going to be a birdie fest. Excuse me. It's all going to be about grinding, avoiding mistakes, and taking your chances when they come. And I think Niemann checks those boxes. Even though Liv doesn't make it strokes gained data public, I think everyone can agree he's one of the best iron players in the world right now. He gained nearly 7 strokes with his irons at the PGA Championship, and that form is very real. He's got the ball striking. He's in good form. Success on the greens that are going to be used here. I took Niemann at top 20 at plus 120, man. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit.
I like that. I was considering him as well in both of those the first 2 bets that I gave out on the win side and the top 27. I didn't want to overload everybody, but the PGA was also his best major finish. And he's still very young. So there's no reason he's not going to keep improving. A lot of times people get sucked in. Like I was sucked into him a couple times last year, 60, 70 to 1. I'm like, this guy's not getting it done in the majors. I'm going to back off him a little and then, let him get back into form. And now he's proving again that he belongs, to be in that discussion of not the Scotty and Bryson and the Rahms and the Rorys yet, but like the next year, like the Xanders, the Cantleys and, that range, the Henleys and so forth.
Next bet, my man, you went to some head-to-heads.
Yeah, so these are both for the first rounds. So both Fleetwood and Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood over English and Fitzpatrick over Clark. They were both DraftKings bets. The first one was minus 150 Fleetwood, and the second was minus 130 Fitzpatrick. Now both of them are historically pretty good first-round players, and they're both pretty good U.S. Open players. Fitzpatrick obviously won one a couple years ago. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. And Fleetwood always is in contention in majors. He's a great major player. He has never won a major or anything in America for that matter, but he's a very consistent player. If we're talking ball striking, he's as good as anybody year in and year out. It is very puzzling how he hasn't won in America. I think that'll change at some point. Hopefully not this week, but at some point he will get a big one.
My bet, my last one, and I went deep, dude. I took Fitzpatrick top 20 at plus 320. I
don't mind that at all.
First and only major at the 2022 U.S. Open. It was at the Country Club in Brookline, and I kind of felt like what I've read online, it plays a lot like Oakmont. And while Fitzpatrick, he finished 54th last time at the U.S. Open, I think this course familiarity is going to matter to him. He's one of the best putters in the field, which gives him some serious edge on these lightning fast greens. And even though he's gotten off to a slow start this season, he has found his rhythm. He made 5 straight cuts dating back to the Masters, and he finished tied for 8th at last month's PGA Championship.
Yep.
In his 10 career starts, he's only missed the cut once. He's consistent, reliable, and battle tested. He's made 18 of his last 22 cuts. While we're betting someone at plus 320 for top 20, that's the type of floor I'm looking for. Statistically, he's been slightly below average off the tee on approach recently, but overall his strokes gained totally still comes out positive, showing his ability to score even when everything isn't firing. At the end of the day, you're betting on a major winner with experience at Oakmont, strong recent form, and a history of grinding out solid results. Plus 320 just to get a top 20 finish for my boy Fitzy. I gotta take it, man.
Yeah, and he's playing, like you mentioned, he's playing a lot better the last couple months. And, when he was that 2022, 2023 season, people put him in the same tier as, all the big guns. He was second a year. It was Scotty's first Masters. He was right around in the mix, and then he won the U.S. Open. Obviously, the PGA was in contention. He's always in contention over in England or wherever they play. It's Scotland, England, Ireland, etc. So yeah, I don't mind that play at all.
Now, if you had to finish this sentence, the golfer that's gonna disappoint the most this weekend is.
Let me pull it up. Let me pull up my thing. Take a look and see. Let's see. It's interesting because there's some guys that I would not consider a disappointment, but other people probably would. Like if Hideki played poorly, I wouldn't be totally shocked. If Jordan Spieth, I could see being in the mix all weekend or being completely out of it. But it's like one of those courses where you could throw me any name other than Scotty, and I would not be shocked.
Let's go ahead. Let's pull up our DraftKings lineup. I have been doing this more often on the show, just kind of throwing these together, putting my guest on the spot. So I guess the big question is, are you going to use Scotty or are you not going to use Scotty? Now, if you're playing a 50-50 contest, everyone and their aunt's going to be using Scotty. You just got to throw them in there because it's just the law of 50-50 contest. But we are playing a $3 million, $1 million to first contest. So this is a shoot or shoot. So with that being said, I feel we need to take a stand against Scotty.
So it's interesting because there's two. I have a friend that plays I don't want to say successful, relatively successful. It's not like his job or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's typically the other way from what he's told me. I don't get overly involved in these. I'll throw him some money every once in a while to get in the mix, have something to root for. But he said typically people make this stand against Scotty, and that's kind of where you can get some leverage when the price is like this.
Yeah.
He's like, on the weeks, he's fairly priced. He's like, there's no benefit to using him. But he's like, on weeks, he's like, I think he's like 14,000 or something, he said this week. He's like, this is the week you would use him. He goes, but it makes your other guys have to be correct. He's like, you can't use a Scotty, and then I told him for something like this, I'd play like a Victor Hovland, and he's like, then all your guys are down to 6,000-7,000.
Yeah.
He's like, so I get the angle of not using Scotty, and we can build one like that, but just throwing that bit of information out.
Full transparency, I'm starting to do these more. On my baseball show, I'm doing them. My UFC show, I'm starting to do them. So I'm starting to figure out those angles. In the NFL stuff, if there's that, my thought, I do it when the running backs hurt. Hypothetically, oh my God, Jahmyr Gibbs is hurt, so David Montgomery is going to get all the run. So everyone and their aunt's going to have David Montgomery in the 50-50 contest. So you just use him. So that way you're not fighting over the points. But in the contest, you'll go against them because most people will not have them. Now, I guess that's kind of my thought process for here, but I could be completely wrong because I'll be honest, I've played one of these, and that was last time you were on here, my man. So
I think we did it last year a couple times, maybe.
Did we?
Yeah, but I don't know if we made it like official. I think it was just like throwing something together.
So let's start. You know what? I want my boy Neiman.
Yeah,
I'm pretty adamant about that.
I'm gonna go
Now,
Xander
you want to go Xander?
because
Boom.
him and Bryson aren't far off, but it gives more
More
room.
leeway.
Um, let's see. What about Russell Henley? He's consistent. He's accurate. Him or Connors are both in that same range. I mean, we could look at them both even.
Henley, Connors.
And it looks like 81.5 is remaining.
I mean, we could put your boy in Hovland.
Yeah, and then what about Ben? If we went Hovland and Ben Griffin or Fitzpatrick, we'd have a lot. I mean, we have a lot to play with.
Now,
Hey, if we put Hovland and Ben Griffin, that would get us right at 6,000 remain or 600 remaining. Sorry.
no, if we play Griffin, we're zeroed out.
No, see to the right, it says remaining salary.
Oh, duh. Sorry.
So people, I mean, you can mess around with it. Like you could go up to Ben Griffin 72, so you could go up to somebody like Lowry or Straka if you wanted, or
Now, I was looking at Griffin the bet. I took a serious look at him because he has been playing well.
yeah.
Like, but I didn't want to have 3 top 20 bets, and I don't think he can win it.
I don't think he can win it, but he's been playing so well. I don't mind ever having 3 top 20 bets because like I know that your Fitzpatrick almost plus 320. You know, you're not looking at like 3 even money shots where they all need to come in.
Yeah.
You know, with those 3, if Fitzpatrick comes in, I don't know what the prices are on the other 2 again, but you'd make money if he just comes in.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it right. Let me pull it up right now. What is Griffin? Golf. All right. Top 20. Plus 205 for Griffin. So not bad at all. Definitely look to add that one. Matt, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, coming on, talking a little U.S. Open. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, I use Instagram more than the others now. It's MPAPPPS. I do have X, but I don't really post anything. I just use it.
Your X game is a little weak, dude.
I mean, I haven't posted in 5 years on there, probably.
Well,
I just looking for the news and the weather and the scratches for the races and stuff.
Dude, like when I started on X, Twitter, I posted so much, but I've slowly started dwindling down. But I do go there for all the new shit because like you get stuff that I don't even know what's going on. I know what's going on. Guys, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check us out next week when we'll be talking a little MLB. We're going to be switching over to NFL talk soon. Why did you bet the Bears week 1? Because I think the line's going to move. I don't think JJ McCarthy's it. I'll have a post on that goes into it a little bit deeper. So probably tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure to give my boy Matt a follow on Instagram because he doesn't use X. And, next golf major, we'll look to get Matt back on here. Good luck, man. I'm sure we're texting during the weekend, my man.
Definitely. Talk to you soon.